What I want to kind of drill down on is your other partner organisations. Listed here is Liverpool City Council, but you've spoken about the PCT, you've spoken about other agencies, the police. Where do they fit in? How do they fit into the mix?
It's vitally important, isn't it, drilling it down into the partners, especially the 5 borough councils that the Fire and Rescue Service covers. Can't really talk about Liverpool, but if I can talk about the great example that Knowsley's got, you'll have seen in the information that was sent out to you, and there's no hiding the fact there are horrendous problems that we have in some parts of Knowsley. Certain wards, 200% higher average for lung cancer, 80% higher national average across the board in Knowsley. So that's a major problem for us to tackle, and the council stroke PCT couldn't do it on its own. Maybe just a plug from the council PCT point of view, it's the same for me, and hopefully it's the same from the Fire and Rescue Service and other partners, because Anissa Marsland, who's the Chief Executive of Knowsley PCT, is also the Executive Director for Health and Social Care for Knowsley. And you wouldn't know what the difference is with the staff there. Do they work for the council? Do they work for the PCT? It's a fantastic partnership there. So that's quite easy then to get things done. But we were struggling within Knowsley, tackling the issues with lung cancer and tackling issues with people smoking. Where do we start? Who smokes and where do they live?
Well, the police initiative.
Task force. The threat response group is made up, it's an umbrella, if you like, of various different departments, and it's everything to do with risks, threat, arson, antisocial behaviour, fireworks, incident investigation. And we went into partnership with Merseyside Police in 2006. Where they've got an antisocial behaviour task force, so they've probably got about 60-70 police officers which are dedicated to tackling antisocial behaviour on Merseyside. Last year it was decided that we'd all move, the whole of the threat response group would move to Wavertree Road Police Station, obviously to build on that partnership and draw on each other's strengths, powers, things like that. And obviously we've had, you know, many success stories that have come from that partnership, and it is still developing. Every week we go along, we seem to encounter a new problem to tackle. Everything, like the Chief said before, is a tailored solution. Antisocial behaviour takes on a different beast wherever you go across Merseyside, albeit the victims of antisocial behaviour are suffering the same sort of problems. But working in partnership gives us access. It's like a double-edged sword, if you like, because we can knock on a community member's door and they'll let us in and they'll give us intelligence, they'll tell us what their problems are. We can then signpost to other agencies. It might be the housing officer, you know, police support, whatever, crime prevention.
Yeah, I mean, I think for me that's the exciting bit, and I think looking for the future, the fact that the fire service is seen as a different service to quite a lot of, you know, people have a warmer feeling towards the fire service.
Can I just ask you a question, just to link to your question, Helen? You've said in your submission that the antisocial behaviour has fallen by over 80%. What's the measure? What was your baseline and how have you measured it? So how do you know?
Right, because we work with the police, analysis is quite difficult at the moment because we've got police analysts and we've got our own fire and rescue analysts as well, and we've just had a review of the task force to look at things like that, and that was one of the recommendations that came out. So what the figures that we're looking at is reducing arson and those antisocial behaviour fires that we're attending. But it does all tie into the bigger picture of it. It's not just, if you talk about a bonfire, it's not a bonfire, you know, you've got youths drinking there, you've got residents who unpark the cars, criminal damage, alcohol, cars pulling up. There's a whole array of acts that go on after that.
So if that 80% is based on your own figures?
It is, yeah.
What's your ambition in terms of being able to measure that across the piece and then measure your contribution to that bigger antisocial behaviour reduction?
There's an ongoing antisocial behaviour issue which is happening tonight. There's a specific programme in Merseyside around the bonfire period which was horrendous. The reduction came about the number of incidents around bonfire and fireworks over a fixed period of time, and that's a piece of data analysis that's specific to that project. In terms of the day-to-day basis, the police have got a pretty sophisticated record of antisocial behaviour incidents, and we would track an initiative. So we put a young people's initiative into an area. Well, there's a lot of kids causing mayhem. Let's put street cage soccer in. What were the number of incidents per night before we put the street cage soccer in, and how have they changed? And we're trying to develop smarter measures in a way that are a bit more positive. So to try and track, we've just invested in a lot in partnership with an IT system. So those young people who come into our initiatives, where do they go? How do we track improvement and benefit, not just the reduction?
Is the partnership IT system a cross-organisational partnership?
Just mention that.
I mean, there's various tools and techniques that we've put into place. What we've tried to look at a partnership level across the whole of Merseyside is looking at risk and also looking at needs, and then drilling down and understanding what the causes are. So understanding the people that live within those neighbourhoods and the contextual place as well. What's the environment like? So examples of what we've done with Merseyside Police under the key partners is put into place strategic protocols across the whole of Merseyside at a strategic level, but also at an operational level. Looking at antisocial behaviour in particular, what we've done is we've followed aspects of the national intelligence model, and we've tied into the CDRP approach of looking at strategic assessments. So we've got a very robust methodology, which is a tried and tested methodology, primarily used within CDRPs in the police. On top of that, though, we had a partnership event some time ago that the Chief kindly chairs, and that was looking at information management across the whole of Merseyside. And it was trying to assess data, information needs, but importantly, how could we rationalise the data that we have? Because there was so much duplication of the same data being recollected, which sometimes was giving mixed messages. So what we agreed, and one of the outcomes of that conference, was really tying back to how we can use effective information, transforming it into what we call business intelligence reports. So during the period looking at antisocial behaviour activity, we held partnership, what we called the bonfire briefings, and they were a daily account of what was occurring throughout that busy period. But we also set up a virtual group called Merseyside Informed. The analysts and other key partners were saying, we've only got so much time in the day, we can only get together maybe once every year, but we need a platform, we need a forum to share this information securely. So we actually used, rather than investing in technology, we actually used technology that already existed. And it was the Association of Greater Manchester Authorities, ACMA, SharePoint site. And we used that to disseminate information securely across the partnerships. We also use it in a way so that if you're an operational officer, you can easily gain access to that information in a secure way. To support that even further, though, what we did was we put together what we called a Yellow Pages directory of signposting people to where the information was, but also the information sharing protocols. And the whole purpose of doing that was to illustrate where data and information was and how it could be accessed and how easy it was. But again, with data, and the key important thing is if I share data with another partner, that they can trust and rely upon that data. So the example that we used there with Knowsley PCT is we did some simple regression analysis. They shared the data from the Home Fire Safety Check form. They then looked at that data at a postcode level, so we didn't have any data protection sort of issues. They aggregated it up. And then we compared that with the data they already had, and surprise, surprise, our customers, their customers, are more than likely the same customers and needs within Knowsley Council per se.